Hello and welcome back, or welcome, depending if this is your first episode, to Under a Rock with Brielle and Guerlain.
Hello.
Hey, today we are discussing Transformers, the 2007 movie, directed by Michael Bay and starring Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox.
hmm
Um, in this one, this is my nostalgic piece of media, and Brielle is coming the first time coming to
Yeah, I'd
this
never
movie.
seen it before. All I kind of knew about Transformers was the bits and pieces of my memory from like the TV show in the 90s,
Right.
So,
So on a scale from 1 to 10, like how much did you suffer watching this?
um, are you prepared for me to rip apart this
Yes, I
movie?
am.
Because I'm going to
Yes.
rip apart this movie. At first, I felt really bad because I was like, oh man, this is like what Gerlin picked. Like, I don't want to like really rag on it. But like Gerlin, and I say this, like not trying to offend anyone who likes this movie. I'm sure they like it for whatever reasons. I'm sure you liked it for whatever reasons. This is not a good movie,
Yeah.
like in any capacity. And I'm watching it and I'm like, I can't believe I have to sit and watch this. Like, I know that it's kind of like over dramatic for me to say, but that is 2.5 hours of my life I am never getting
I
back.
I wasn't aware that it was actually that long.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how long it was. I expected it to be, an hour and a half, an hour 45, like most movies, especially
Right.
considering it would be the start of a franchise. But it was over 2 hours long, which is crazy. And it felt longer.
When I tell you, when I was watching it for this podcast, all I was thinking was like, "Oh, Brielle, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I did not know."
Yeah, but like, okay. The thing I want to know is why did you like it as a child? Because obviously you really liked it as a child for
Mhm.
you to suggest that I watch it.
I was obsessed. Well, still kind of to this day with Transformers, just the franchise overall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it was on Cartoon Network for a
Yeah.
while. Transformers Armada was my first introduction to Transformers, and ever
Right.
since then I just been hooked.
Yeah.
So when the movie came out at the time that it did, I was like, "Oh yeah, like Transformers."
How old were you when the movie came out? Do you remember?
Let's see, 2007. Uh, my sister was 7 plus 4, 11,
Okay.
11, 12.
So you were kind of at the perfect age for it, to
Mm-hmm.
be quite honest. Yeah.
Yes,
You were right in that like perfect demographic.
I was the
Yeah.
demographic. Most definitely, it's definitely like a boys movie.
Oh, yeah. But there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, see, the thing that got me about the movie is like, listen, sometimes we like bad movies and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem was it wasn't even entertaining.
Mm.
Like, if it had a bad plot or stiff acting or like a weak story with like plot holes, I could forgive all of that if it had been entertaining. But it wasn't even entertaining. It was just boring. I was so bored watching all of it. And that's what made me actually the most upset.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like Transformers too. I think it's a really cool concept. I mean, the franchise is fun. Who doesn't like robots fighting each other? Everybody
Right.
likes that. So for it to just be such a disappointment, I was really upset actually, because it could have been a great franchise.
Yeah. I mean, your sentiment is not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who love Transformers just as much as I do, or even more, they say they have the same critique and complaint
Yeah.
about the films.
Yeah. Because, yeah, that was my biggest issue. I was like, I could kind of forgive a lot of sins if it was at least entertaining,
Mhm.
but I just did not find it entertaining at all, like, which is sad, Like, yeah, but let's get into my notes. I'm gonna tear this apart. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
um, okay, one thing that I just wanted to clear up really quick. What is the cube versus what is the allspark? Like, what is the difference between the two of them?
It's the same thing. I don't know why they kept going back and forth.
Is the allspark like in the cube? Is that like how
The
it works?
Allspark is the cube.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
But then why have two different names for it? Bad writing. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we should have like a little like we should put like a little screen up and like have like tallies every time I say bad writing.
It's gonna be a lot.
No,
No?
well, yeah, but we shouldn't do that because that would be ridiculous. Um, so I realize that I am not the demographic for this movie. This movie was not made for girls, which is wrong. This movie should have been for everyone. Girls can like cars. Girls can like Transformers. But But this movie, the whole time I was watching it, I was very aware that like it was not for me. Like there was kind of this like voice in my head going, "Why are you watching this, Brielle? You're a girl. You can't watch this car movie for guys doing guy stuff." Like that, the movie just shoves it down your throat that it's like a guy's movie with guy stuff for guys. There's cars, there's explosions, there's hot girls in short skirts. It's a guy movie. Like that's the whole like vibe of the movie. I also wrote, what is it with fantasy / sci-fi and cubes? I don't know what it is. Like Transformers, the Avengers. Like, what is it with sci-fi like movies and magical mystical cubes? I don't understand what's so special about a cube. I don't get it.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like the Tesseract is a cube. I'm trying to think of another. Oh, well, and Doctor Who has like cubes that are important. Star Wars has like the holocrons, which aren't necessarily cubes. They can be triangles, but yeah, it's just interesting to me, the like cubes. So the basic plot of this movie, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is there's this Allspark and it has the power to create planets. And the Autobots and the Decepticons lived in harmony until the Decepticons were like, no, we want more power. And they kind of destroyed the planet that they all lived on and went out into the stars to, I guess, take over other planets and destroy the Autobots. The Autobots fled to Earth, where the Allspark was. Why the Allspark was there, they never tell us. Do they tell us why the Allspark was on Earth?
No, plot convenience.
Yeah, okay, which, fine, whatever. And so all the Autobots are on Earth in disguise as, like, cars and other appliances. Keeping an eye on the Allspark until they can actually find it. Meanwhile, the Decepticons are like, we found the Allspark, we're going to destroy Earth. Shia LaBeouf's character, Sam, finds Bumblebee, and with Bumblebee and the other Autobots, he works to stop the Decepticons and save the Allspark so that no one else who's bad can have that kind of power. That's the basic plot, right? Okay.
For the most part, yes.
Okay. Man, they really stretched that out. Like the movie's like 2.5 hours long, and it really didn't have to be.
No.
Like the thing is, none of the characters are likable in any way. Like I found Shia LaBeouf's character Sam to be incredibly annoying and ridiculously sexist, like almost like comically sexist. He was so ridiculous. There are 3 women in this movie: Megan Fox, the other, like the blonde analyst girl, and Sam's mom. And those are the only women in the movie. Apparently there are no women at all in the army or in, that like command center. Apparently the only women that are around are like flight attendants, just saying, just saying.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, but like none of the characters are likable. And Sam is supposed to be the lead in our movie, but he's annoying. And I'm not trying to say that Shia LaBeouf is a bad actor, because he's actually not. He's a decent actor. And I'm not even trying to say that Megan Fox is a bad actor, because she's actually very good. And I think that she got kind of the short end of the stick with this movie. And considering what happened to her in the media, like after this, I feel very bad for her that she had to deal with all that ridiculousness. But they are not acting well in this movie. Sam wants a car really, really bad. So his dad takes him to get a car, and it's Bumblebee. And they try to do this whole like Herbie thing where like the car moves, and it's not funny and it's not cute. So I was like, well, whatever. Disney did it better. And that's the other thing. We don't meet Bumblebee, like really meet him, until 53 minutes into the movie. We don't meet the other Autobots until at least 15 minutes, 20 minutes after that. You're telling me that the movie is 2.5 hours long and we don't see any of the robots? Like, we do see like the robot attack the army guys, but like we don't see any of our robots, the good guys, until almost an hour in? Are you kidding me? The whole reason anybody went to see this movie was to see the robots. No one went to see it because of Shia LaBeouf. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to see the robots.
It's hilarious that your first viewing of this, you've you've already accumulated all of the anger that the entire fan base have been feeling for the past, what, 10 plus
Oh my
years?
God.
It is hilarious to me that you like caught all this already.
Yeah, I just was like, literally when we first met Bumblebee, I like paused the movie and I was like 53 minutes. Like, that's not good
Mhm.
that you're introducing one of your main characters into the movie that late in the game. Like, that's just bad storytelling. And again, this is a movie called Transformers. They should be in the movie from the very beginning, you know, excluding like one like fight attack sequence, which, you know, was like, there was that. It wasn't that entertaining, but you know.
Right.
Basically, so Sam gets his car and he drives to like a lake to, you know, try and hit on Megan Fox's character, Michaela. This movie is incredibly sexist. You know, call me a feminist and say it angrily all you want, but this movie is incredibly sexist.
No, I thought the same thing.
Like, you know, if Megan Fox's character wants to dress that way, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not a real person. She's a character in a movie, which means someone told her or wrote down this is how the character dresses. And it was a man who wrote this is how the character dresses.
Mm-hmm.
So it is sexist. It's not empowering for her to dress sexy. Just putting that out there, because that's an argument that a lot of people give when female characters in a movie are dressed sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like, oh, but it's empowering. She chose to dress that way. She wanted to be sexy. No, she didn't. She's not real. A man picked out her outfit. Anyway. He goes to see her, and honestly, you know who the best character in this movie is? Sam's friend who climbs the tree.
Who's barely in the movie.
Yeah, I loved him. I was like, yeah, boy, you climb that tree. I like you. Keep climbing that tree. What a weirdo.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car, immediately climbs the tree. Love it. So basically, you know, Megan Fox's character, like, ends up walking home, like, alone, and Sam, you know, ditches his friend, which is mean. One more reason why I didn't like him. And picks her up, and she's not just a pretty girl. She likes cars, but she likes cars in a sexy way. You'd never see her in big fat overalls covered in grease. No, she's gonna fix a car in a miniskirt. Like, it's sexist. Like, there's this trope in feminist media called the sexy lamp trope, which is a way to tell if your movie is sexist is if you could replace the female characters with a sexy lamp and the plot would not change. You can do that in this movie. You could replace Megan Fox's character with a sexy lamp and nothing would change. You could replace that analyst character with a sexy lamp and nothing would change. She does nothing.
A lamp shaped as a woman, or
Yeah, like a sexy lamp.
I never.
It's just a trope. It's basically to illustrate how useless to the plot the women are and how they're just there for decoration and objectification.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a famous trope in feminist film critique. But yeah, like, Megan Fox's character does nothing. She really does. The only thing she does in the entire movie is hook Bumblebee up to that like tow truck and drive him through the streets. But guess what? A sexy lamp could have done that too if it fell on the gas pedal. You know? The analyst character serves no purpose. I don't understand what her point is in being in the movie. I don't understand what the dad from Blackish, because that's who that is. The dad from Blackish, what his part was. Like, I don't understand what they were doing in the movie. Like, they didn't need to be there. It just felt unnecessary because they didn't tell us anything that added to the plot. They were like, oh, this like sound signature matches this one. They hacked into Air Force One, and that's the only thing they do of value. They tell us that they hacked Air Force One. Like, and then I asked my friend later, I was like, does she ever like come back in the other movies? He's like, no, they forget her storyline entirely. And I'm like, then what's the point? Except she's a hot blonde, so she's got to be in the movie. I'm sorry, I'm ripping this to shreds. I'm so
that's
sorry.
fine. That's fine. You don't need to apologize.
I feel bad because like you like this movie, and
No, here's the thing. I haven't watched this movie in like a good while. The only time, whenever I do watch this movie, I don't even necessarily watch it. I watch clips on YouTube, and the clips are usually of the robots fighting.
yeah.
So we watching this for this episode of the podcast. I was just like, oh my God, like this shit did not age well whatsoever.
Yeah.
I caught on to a lot of things that you're saying now. Like,
Yeah.
that was useless. What was the point of this? Why is this part dragging out so long?
Mhm.
Wow, this is so cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just as a 11, 12-year-old when I first watched this, Um, you know, the pee jokes were funny.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that too.
The pee jokes were funny. Obviously, um, I was like, oh wow, look at Megan Fox and her flat stomach
Yeah.
at the
I
time.
mean, she's very pretty. You can't deny that.
Robots punching each other, yeah, and Shia LaBeouf, oh, the guy from Even Stevens,
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of familiarity. I didn't pronounce that right, but yeah, a lot of that, and just like, this is so awesome. Something that I watch on mornings before I go to school. Now it's live action. Oh yeah, and watching now as an adult, I completely agree with everything that
Yeah.
you're saying right now.
I don't want this to become like Brielle lectures Guerlain about film theory for an hour. Like, I don't want it to become that. But to be honest, there's really nothing good about this movie. I tried to find, you know what the best part about this movie was? At the end of the movie when they played that Linkin Park song. That was the best part. I was like, yeah, Linkin Park. But I tried to find like things that were good about this movie, and there wasn't a lot. There
Yeah.
really wasn't. And I feel bad, but like, you know.
I mean, for me, it's just the fight scenes.
Yeah, but those weren't even that great. They were very mechanical.
Whoa, boom.
No, I found the fight sequences, especially the ones between the robots, to be very
Rigid.
like rigid. I also felt that a lot of the camera angles did not suit the fights well because the robots all look very similar. They're all made of the same like shade of metal, I mean, obviously, like, Bumblebee has yellow on him, Optimus Prime is red, white, and blue. But because they look so similar to each other, when they had like close-ups of the metal hitting each other, I didn't know who was fighting who.
Mhm.
So I would have changed some of the camera angles, and that was one of my issues with the fight sequences. There was a lot of like weird close-ups that I don't think served the purpose of the fight sequence,
Yeah.
And again, the fight sequences weren't that entertaining either. Like, they were very like punch, fall, or like, fly or turn into the plane or whatever. Like, they weren't, because the thing was, none of the characters were likable, and I didn't care about any of the characters. The movie tried to get me to care, but they didn't do a good job. Like, for example, in the beginning, they have like the army guy, Josh Duhamel, is that how you pronounce his name?
Done. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And they have him like talking to his wife and his baby. That's supposed to get you to empathize with him and be like, oh, he has something to fight for. He has a wife and a kid. But they don't give us enough with that for me to care.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? Every soldier movie has a character who has a wife and kid back home, and it's sad. But like, they didn't do enough of it to justify me caring,
Yeah.
And then later on in the movie, when we learn that Megan Fox's like father has parole and she has like a juvie record, they have this moment where she talks to Sam and she's like, yeah, my dad stole cars and like he brought me along, whatever. And that's it. And I'm like, is that supposed to be her backstory that makes us like care about her? Because that was 2 lines and I still don't care. Like,
Yeah.
the movie doesn't do a good job of making us care about the characters. They don't do a good job of endearing us to the robots, which are obviously the best part. But like Bumblebee, they try to do the whole Herbie thing where they make him like funny and play tricks and stuff, but it's not that entertaining, and it's not enough to make me care about Bumblebee,
Yeah.
Like, something that I wrote down is like, why would a robot alien car understand human sexuality? Like, when Shia LaBeouf's character is driving Megan Fox and he's playing like sexual healing or something on the radio, and he drives them off to like a lover's lookout kind of place. Like, why does Bumblebee know to do that?
Because sex jokes. And
Like, he's a car. Not only that, but he's like an alien robot car. How does he know that? Yeah, I thought that was that was funny. That was like, I was like, why does he know how to do that? Like, I will say that the design of the robots was cool. I thought that was cool. I thought that the way that they transformed from like cars and appliances into robots was cool. So props to that. Like, that was actually pretty cool. I thought the design of the robots was interesting. I wish we could have seen more of it.
obviously, yeah.
But the design of the robots is cool. This movie is filled with product placement. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, obviously, they have all the car product placement, which is to be expected, but so much product placement. Hostess got product placement when the president, who was obviously like supposed to be George Bush, haha, asked for I think like ding dongs or something. So Hostess product placement, Dance Dance Revolution, whatever brand, I think it's SanDisk that makes the little memory cards. That was a product placement. Burger King product placement. Like you could tell that half of the scenes were only there for the product placement.
There were commercials for Burger King, like for promo for the movie.
Yeah.
Like Optimus Prime in the drive-through. That was
Yeah,
something.
I mean, but that's fine. That's normal to have like, you know, things like that. Like McDonald's does that too, where it's like, oh, you know, for the toys in the Happy Meal. Like that's fine. I don't care about that. I don't even really care about product placement, to be honest. I mean, you got to fund your movie, but it was so ridiculous how many things I saw with the name that, like, you know, it was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, but have some like pride in your work. Like you don't need to sell out to the corporations, Michael Bay. Although my next thing that I want to bring up is I wonder how many dicks Michael Bay sucked to get all that military equipment in the movie.
Oh, none. He in all his movies, he's like so pro military and pro America in
Yeah.
like all of his movies.
It's just interesting because he's very anti-authority.
In real life?
No, like in the movie.
Oh.
Like the cops are jerks, which, you know, but the cops are jerks. The FBI guys have like, you know, a God complex and, you know, they're mean and they're, you know, weirdly like creepy towards Megan Fox. So he loves the military. He just doesn't like authority. He seems like he's very like homegrown, like a soldier can save the day. Whatever. It's all propaganda.
A lot of it was.
Yeah. Well, it's not just this movie. Not to sound like, you know, a conspiracy theorist or an anarchist or anything, but anytime you see accurate military technology in a movie, the military bankrolled that movie and it's propaganda.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
So that's why I say like how many dicks he had to suck.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Also, like something that I thought was like, I don't want to say funny, but I thought that was like interesting was the Decepticon police car said to punish and enslave. And like one, it's a wink because it's a Decepticon. But two, it's like, oh man, you really don't like the police, do you, Michael Bay? Also, you know what I thought was like so mean? When Megan Fox's character insults Bumblebee, she's like this old like hunk of junk, and then he turns into a brand new Camaro, and I wanted to be like, no, Bumblebee, take pride in who you are. You don't have to change. You don't have to change. You could be an old Camaro, Bumblebee. I liked you the way you were.
I mean, this whole thing was just a big Chevy commercial.
Yeah, it was.
I remember because of that, Chevy got like so many orders of like Camaros because of this movie.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nice cars.
They are.
I'm not saying they're not. I mean, you know.
But I wanted my first car to be a Camaro because of this.
Oh, really?
But,
Oh,
like,
that's cute.
Now living on Long Island, it's like everyone either has like a Camaro or a Mustang. I'm just like, ugh, forget it.
I mean, I have a Chevy.
You see?
I mean, it's not because of
This, but like
this, but I have a Chevy. I
Right,
mean, they're
right.
good cars. What
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you say? Like, yeah, I just wrote, the next thing I wrote was like, this movie tries really, really hard to be funny. It's not funny.
Well, it's funny to someone with the IQ of 11-year-old.
Yeah, but the
You know?
humor doesn't hold up.
Right.
That's the thing. That's what makes, I think, a good movie a good movie. Like, it's okay if the humor is a little immature or a little childish. Like, that's okay. Sometimes you want that. But the humor has to still be funny, you know? And it just wasn't funny. It was just a lot of Shia LaBeouf stuttering, you know? And that's
screaming.
not funny. And screaming and, like, a lot of pee jokes. I don't know. What is so funny about pee?
I don't know.
Is it a phallic thing? Is it like a dominance thing? Like men peeing on other men asserts their dominance without making it gay, like because it's pee. Like is it?
Oh, shit.
Is it like a thing?
Shit.
Like
Oh.
what is it? I don't get it. And why does Bumblebee understand power dynamics enough to pee on the FBI guy? Why does he know that?
What was funny for me was his reaction to getting peed on, not actually the peeing. But damn, Brielle, you just dug right deep into that. Wow.
I'm asking the hard hitting
You're asking
question.
a hard question.
I feel so bad because I am like ripping this movie apart and, you know, I'm being really mean about it. And I don't want to insult anyone who likes this movie because you like what you like and people have different comfort movies. And I like terrible movies too. There are plenty of bad movies that I like, but again, I can't help but say, like, this wasn't even entertaining.
I tell you this. Looking back, like a lot of the people who are like big fans of the Transformers franchise, they they look at the Michael Bay films and somewhat discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only thing, and I don't know if I could speak for every Transformers fan, but the only thing that we really like was the CGI, was the robot fighting.
Mm,
We didn't care about Sam Witwicky. We
mm,
didn't care about Michaela. We didn't care about any of the stuff. And even with the storyline with the Autobots and the Decepticons, um, we constantly roll our eyes at it because it's all like, okay, oh, the Allspark is here. Oh, so Optimus is gonna sacrifice himself. Okay, he didn't sacrifice himself. For some reason, it killed Megatron. How did
yeah.
that happen? Um, why is Optimus so prime? Why is Optimus Prime so weak
Mm-hmm.
against Megatron? Like,
Yeah.
what is this fight? It's just so it's not like you're shitting on anything. Like we
Yeah.
we all just like
I know.
despise.
I still feel a little bad.
But out of the entire franchise, this is the
I
better
was
film.
told. I asked my friend, and I was like, "Should I watch the others?" He's like, "No,
No,
don't."
no. Apparently, Bumblebee is good. I haven't watched Bumblebee, but I heard
Mhm.
Bumblebee is good.
That was the other thing. They didn't really introduce the bad guys until the very, very end. We
Yeah.
don't see Megatron until the very, very end, which is weird. Like, he's the main bad guy. He's the thing that they're fighting against, and we don't see him until like the last half hour ish.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad. Like, that's not good writing. Like,
The whole thing with this film is like,
we're like the whole movie they're fighting against something that we don't even know what it is.
Right.
There's
They-
way too much buildup for a very simple plot.
they really banked on the fact that you already have prior knowledge of the Transformer universe.
Yeah.
Because with that whole like dynamic, it wasn't even a dynamic. That whole little dialogue between Megatron and Starscream,
Mhm.
when Megatron got free and he was all like, "Oh, like I live to serve you, Lord Megatron." We already, fans of the franchise already know. Oh, Starscream and Megatron, they have this relationship. They have this dynamic where like Megatron always belittles Starscream.
Mhm.
For someone who's first time coming into this, you're not gonna get that from that little tiny
Yeah.
dialogue.
There wasn't enough.
There wasn't enough, and that's yeah.
And again, like, they gave these robots personalities, but like we didn't have enough time to get to know them. So at the very end, when I think one of the robots is destroyed, they were like, "Oh, he was a brave warrior." I was like, "Who? I don't know any of these robots. Who is this one? Why are we like sad that he's dead?" Like, this movie was so long and it did nothing. And there was so much like exposition that really did not need to exist. It really could have been cut down.
Mm-hmm.
Not even because it was weak exposition, which it was, but not even because it was weak exposition, but just because it didn't need to be as long as it did. We should have been introduced to the robots a lot sooner. We should have been introduced to the bad guys a lot sooner. That way we could have had more fight sequences, more back and forth. We could have really come to learn and care about these robots. That way, when Optimus Prime is like, "I will sacrifice myself," we actually feel afraid that he's going to do that. But instead, I was like, he's not. It's going to be fine. Don't worry, I will say, though, so like when we first see Starscream, I couldn't help but think about that Vine of that guy going into his bedroom and going, "Starscream, pound it, Starscream, pound it. Let's go get some tater tots." Do you know that Vine?
No.
Oh man, I love that Vine. It's like this guy and his cat. His name is Starscream, and he makes the cat high five him to get some tater tots. He's the guy from the "It's a Monday" video, which lives in my head rent free. That video.
I don't know. I never heard of this guy.
It's really, I feel like it's really obscure YouTube. I wonder what that guy is doing now. I hope he's good. I hope him and his cat Starscream are good. But yeah, I just immediately thought of "Pound it, Starscream, pound it."
That's funny.
Yeah, no, that was just my biggest like problem. Like, I was ready to be entertained. I was like, yeah, robots fighting robots, that's fun, but it wasn't even that good in the fight sequences. I was kind of sad about that. Yeah, also like this movie was like a little like stereotypical, like, like the one I don't know what ethnicity he is because Michael Bay didn't think it was important to tell us, but the one army guy who like only speaks Spanish, you know, the dad from Blackish, like, you know, is like there, and it's like he's like loud and obnoxious and everything, and he's like weirdly mean to his grandma. I don't know why. Like, you know, I really tried to find something good about this movie that I liked, and I found nothing.
That's fine.
I found nothing. The only thing is that the design of the robots was cool. You know, and all the ride at Universal is fun.
The what now?
There's a ride at Universal, a Transformers ride that's fun.
Oh.
Yeah. It's fun. It's like a 3D like motion sensor ride. Yeah, no, but like it was just not a good movie. And like it was so like, listen, I understand it's a boy movie. So I understood going in that there wasn't going to be like, you know, a lot of women presence in the movie, but like, oh man, it was so sexist and like you know, you can grip and gripe all you want that like Megan Fox's character liked working with cars. That's like feminist. That's like a boy skill that she has. And I'm like, yeah, but the camera focuses not on her face, but on her stomach. You know, and like later on in the movie when the robots are attacking the city, there's like this part where one of the robots like flies over this person's head. It's a woman and she's screaming and the camera isn't really on her face. It's more on her boobs.
All right.
It's the camera angles, you know, that really show you what the director wanted to focus on.
So just for some funny context.
Yeah, sure.
Brielle and I had a conversation, obviously off microphone, about, you know, women and using their bodies and sexual stuff, like along the lines of what we're talking about now. And I had a not so bright take on it, and she chewed my head off, rightfully so. So watching this film after we had this conversation, I was just like, fuck. It's like we just had this conversation. I apologize for the things that I said. And I'm just like, all right, so let's watch Transformers. Not remembering that a majority of the film and just Michael Bay as a director, this is in all of his films.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know.
I know.
Yeah, so sorry bro.
I don't blame you. Like, I'm not mad at you for doing that. It's not like I went into this going, oh, Guerlain wanted me to get like angry because it's sexist. Like, I knew that you probably were looking back on it with like rose-colored nostalgia glasses. Like, I wasn't mad about that. And it's not like a million other movies aren't sexist too. Like, Transformers isn't unique in that.
Right. But a lot of it like banked on that. Like that shot with Megan Fox
over the car.
Mm-hmm. They plastered that shit everywhere when it first came out. Heavy. Like it was computer wallpaper. It was in the advertisements all over. I feel like it was one of the what you call it? It's like a screenshot, but like they take the screenshot and they kind of make a poster out of it.
Yeah, like almost like a billboard.
They use that shit heavy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, something else I wrote like, "Damn, JJ, that's a lot of lens flare. Maybe chill out."
Oh, when he
there's so much lens flare in this movie. I was like half blind through it. I was like, chill, you know. But you know what's weird? So I have never seen a Michael Bay movie until this one. I was expecting more explosions.
Oh, because of all the jokes?
Yeah, people make so many jokes about Michael Bay like loving explosions, and I was like, there wasn't a lot of explosions. Are there more explosions in the later movies?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot. That and did Bad Boys have a lot of explosions? Bad Boys had a few. But it gets more in the later ones.
Also, something funny that I kind of noticed was, you know, for saying how much he loves the human race and how much he wants to protect the humans, Optimus Prime sure does kill a lot of them.
By accident.
But still, he goes flying through an office building and you're telling me all those people are fine?
Well, he didn't fly intentionally. He got shot.
But oh, that's something else that I had a question about. Why are they in that city? Because they were in the desert.
Mhm.
Why didn't they stay in the desert where there was no one to get hurt? I mean, I understand like it's cool blowing up a city, like that's always fun. But like, why didn't they stay in the desert where there was no people around to get hurt?
Because
Why'd they go into a city?
they were trying to hide the Allspark in the city.
Which
Yeah.
seems like a terrible idea,
Yeah.
considering the Decepticons like will kill people and have no compunction killing people.
Listen, when I watched this film for the first time,
Mm.
I didn't pay attention to any of the dialogue. Like I didn't nothing. I didn't catch anything. Watching it now and hearing like their plans and hearing how things are laid out, I'm like, wow, this is really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like who thought that this was a smart idea?
Yeah. And again, all that could be forgiven if it was at least entertaining, if it was shorter, you know? Because the thing is, a good Transformers movie can definitely exist.
Yeah.
And this could have been a good Transformers movie. You don't need a crazy plot. You just need something simple. The Allspark is on Earth. The Decepticons wanted the Autobots don't, so they work with the U.S. military. So they work with the U.S. military to defeat the Decepticons. There's your movie. That's it. If you want to throw in like a plucky character to like join with Bumblebee to be your human element, sure, do that. But you have to make him likable. You have to make him worth watching. Like, Shia LaBeouf was so annoying.
Apparently, again, Bumblebee is that movie, the one that came out in 2018.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch that one. That's one with Haley
Yes.
Steinfeld. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe I'll watch that one. Because honestly, that one, when I saw the trailers, that one looked kind of cute because it gives him a personality, and you know, but yeah, this, like, I'm sorry, this was not a good movie. I really didn't enjoy myself. You know,
fine.
it was like 2 hours of my life. I'm not kidding.
One thing though about when they were in the desert and they were fighting
Yeah.
Scorponok or Scorpionik, whatever. And when Josh's character is on the phone and it's like, oh no, I don't want the premium package, whatever. Apparently that's a true story. Like that actually happened to a soldier, like during
What, he tried to call like the Pentagon and he got like a credit card company?
like he had that type of interaction.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So apparently that's a true thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous if you're in the middle of a war and like the person on the other line is just not getting it. It's like, well, you know, I have to follow procedure. It's like, no, this is a war.
Yeah, I didn't get that part. What happened? He tried to call the Pentagon and he did what, dialed the wrong number, or he had to go through several steps to reach the Pentagon?
You had to go through several steps because like they're out of the states.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
They're in different
And
countries.
he's just calling
so-
from a random cell phone. It's not even like a military phone. Yeah, okay.
Mm.
John Voight was in this movie. That was kind of cool.
Who that?
He was the like military guy, like the head military guy with the white hair, the old guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's his name.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Voight. Brilliant actor. I mean, you know, I don't know why he did this movie. I guess the paycheck, but
That's the thing. A lot of people said that this franchise soiled a lot of good actors.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Because, like I said, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox are not bad actors, and you know, thinking about what happened to Megan Fox, like this followed her for a long time, unfortunately.
Well, that's because she spoke out. Like after the second film, she spoke out against Michael Bay. Like
yeah, and he like blackballed her.
yeah, which was fucked up.
Yeah,
But then he hired it again for Ninja Turtles. But
I don't know why she did it, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I don't have more to talk about.
no, that's fine.
Because the thing is, like, Transformers isn't a bad franchise. It's
No.
a fun show. Like the show from like the 80s and stuff, like the old cartoon. That's like fun and campy and
But I
like,
never watched the old cartoon.
you know, I've seen a couple episodes, you know. It's fun and the robots fight and they're like there's surprisingly a lot of like moral centers in the show, you know. So the opportunity was there to make a good movie. And it could have been very, very easy because we as humans, we personify everything. Like if you talk to anybody who has a Roomba, they love that Roomba. Like they give it a name and they talk to it. Like people love robots. And so it would have been so easy to just immediately endear us to these robots and have us love the movie. Because that's the thing. If we loved the robots, this movie could have been bad and we would have still watched it. We would have still gone to see it, which people did. But like we would have loved this franchise. But the problem is that the robots are so underused and underutilized that it doesn't make it worth it for, I think, the average consumer.
Yeah.
Like, why watch this 2-hour movie where you barely see any robots when you can just watch the old cartoon? Like, yeah, it's not as cool looking, but at least there's the robots, you know?
Two cartoons that I feel like is the best out of the entire franchise. My personal opinion, you can fight me on it. Transformers Animated, which came out after this film. Because of the popularity of this film, they made Transformers Animated.
Yeah.
That was on Cartoon Network. And Transformers Prime, which was on Hasbro had a TV station called The Hub.
Yes, that's where like My Little Pony was too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just to sell their toys.
Yeah. I know, smart. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it worked.
So those two are like really good Transformer cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with this film, they just it made a lot of money.
Yeah, it did. It certainly did.
It kept making money.
Yeah.
Which warranted countless bad sequels.
Yeah.
But hey, what you gonna do, man? That's show business.
Yeah.
I will say this, and this is just like a throwback memory. My dad told me, I was like in 5th grade. My dad told me that if I got good grades, that he would buy me Transformer toys.
Aw.
I got the grades. Never got the Transformers.
What? No.
Yeah, to this day I still hold a little grudge, but
Aw.
I mean, because in his mind it would be a waste of money, which it would have been, because like they probably would have been in the trash by now.
Yeah.
But still to this day,
Aw.
because my sister and I like we would play with toys and like we'll come up with storylines. We would have came up with a better Transformers film.
I'm sure. I'm sure. As like an 11 and a 7-year-old, I'm sure you would have.
So like we had everything planned out. I was like, okay, we're gonna get Optimus, we're gonna get Bumblebee, we're gonna like come up with this storyline, and we never got it.
Oh,
But you know,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that delightful though? Children's play.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like this is like a weird like side tangent, but I babysat this girl a couple years ago who I believe she was 7, and babysitting her made me remember what I was like at 7, like at that age. We have the craziest imaginations at 7, and we come up with the weirdest, craziest soap opera-esque plot lines. Like she was playing with her Barbie dolls with me, and she was like, oh, and then this person comes back, but then they go away, and then they fight, and then this person comes back, and then they go away, and then they have to do this, and then they have to go there. And I was exhausted. I was like, Sophia, can we please just put away the Barbies? I'm so tired. How many times is this one Barbie gonna come back to life after being killed? Like, but it's beautiful the way that children play and imagine. I 100% believe that you and your sister probably came up with a more heart-wrenching story with those Transformers than Michael Bay ever could.
Yeah, we would have. What you gonna do? The scene on a highway when they're driving, and then the construction truck, his name was Bone Crusher, when he transforms, and then Optimus transforms, and then they fight. You can't tell me that scene wasn't cool.
I mean, it was cool to watch them like go from being cars to robots.
But the fighting, you weren't interested. Like
not really.
Optimus stabbing him in the face. And
not really.
No? Okay.
I mean, it might have been a little bit my fault because I was like checking out at that point. Like the movie was very long, and I was very bored, so I kept checking in and out. So I might have like missed stuff. So I apologize. Maybe it is a cool fight scene, but it wasn't enough to keep me like focused on it to see it.
When I sent you the link to watch the film, and I saw that it was like 2 hours and 52 minutes, I was like, oh shit. I was about to text you like, hey, just so you know, I wasn't aware.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
All right, I guess there's nothing else to say about it.
I can understand why you liked it as a child. I can. I really, really can. But you know, I don't think there's enough to make it a good movie and to keep that nostalgia. I think you should let that nostalgia go.
Oh no, it's been let go. It's been let go for a while now.
Yeah.
It's just the fight scenes for me. I know you said like they were boring, but I mean they were cool.
Hey, if you like them, that's what all that matters. You know, we're allowed to have different opinions. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the cartoons are better.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, 100% the cartoons are better. Yeah, I think that's it. This is going to be a real short episode.
Again, I'm sorry for torturing you. I did
No, don't worry.
completely forgot how this film really ran. But that
Listen, I've seen longer movies that were bad, that were maybe not as like worse than this, but were just as bad. So don't worry.
that part where they're in the car and he's just all like, "She's a criminal. Criminals are hot."
I was like, oh God, that's creepy.
yeah.
That's so creepy. They're supposed to be like 16.
That was a moment when I was like, yeah, this movie did not age well whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right. So you could listen to us on all on all platforms. Go ahead.
Thank you guys for watching, for listening. You can find us on all available streaming platforms. We appreciate your support, and we will see you next time for another movie or TV show or whatever we're going to talk about.
All right. See ya.
Bye.